Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday to all. Hope everyone is doing good. I am here with NFE from the Strike Zone. How are you, NFE? How's everything? And
Doing,
what are you up to, man?
doing good, man. Just we're kind of talking a little bit backstage. I was trained a lot last night and then trained plenty this morning. So, a little tired, a little beat up, but I'm good, man. I'm still feeling good. I'm feeling refreshed. So it's Friday.
Yeah. So let's say hello to people in the chat. Donnie, what's going on?
What's up, Daddy?
So we've got quite a bit to talk about today. We've got the roster. Um, let's see who's made the cut, who's not making the cut, and in general, Rodon and Soto. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we got going on today. James, how's it going? Dev, how's it going?
What's up,
Salute
guys?
to you guys. So let's start off with the overall roster. The overall roster right now has not been slimmed down to 26 yet. We're about 21 days away from opening day. Stephen B, what's going on, brother?
What's up?
We're about 20 to 21 days away from opening day. Roster has not yet gotten down to 26. They're still making their final few cuts before we get to opening day. So overall, to me, the roster is constructed very well. I think Cashman and Hal did a great job this offseason of constructing this roster. We have a lot of depth in a lot of places. There's a lot happening. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I know some people are a little concerned because of how spring training is going, and I get it. And it's people have to understand that this is spring training. These are just exhibition games. It's not official games. In this time right now, this is where players are working on their mechanics. They're working on their adjustments. You got to remember, especially with the bats.
Yeah,
They have a new hitting coach right now, right? And James Rosen. So this is their third hitting coach in a year. Think about that.
Yeah, that is
So
very true.
yeah, they had Dylan Lawson. He was let go of his job. Back, what was it, before the All-Star break or after the All-Star break? They brought on
Before the All-Star break.
Yeah, they brought on Sean Casey. There was some life to the bats when he was around, but Sean Casey decided to leave because for personal reasons, and that the Yankees were just like, okay, cool. It wasn't the Yankees' fault. He wanted to spend more time with his family, and
that's okay.
And that's fine.
More than okay.
Yeah, and needed to be done.
Yep.
Now they brought on James Rosen, so there's a new hitting coach with a new philosophy. So the lineup, as far as the lineup goes, these guys do have to make their adjustments. So now they have to adjust again. Hopefully, Rawson is sticking around for a while. I mean, I hate for there to be a change of coaches again because it's just you can't keep doing that.
No, it's going to screw the whole chemistry up, and they've got a good chemistry now, so you don't want to mess that up.
Yeah, and to Donnie's point here, right? The bench and the depth it's deep. This is as deep as they have been in a very long time. The farm is great, but as far as their
FL says the same thing. FL says the same thing.
Some guys are not hitting right now. Sure. Some guys are not playing well right now. Sure. But hopefully things turn around, right? Hopefully, when the regular season hits, these guys start, hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah.
But, again, it's spring training. People are working on things, right? The Yankees, they lost today 2-1. But DJ was the one who got the RBI, so I just wanted to point that out.
No, it's a good point, and it's not even to troll. It's a good point because he looks a lot better this year. He doesn't look like he's been hurt, and he looks healthy, and that's what we need out of DJ. We
Yeah,
need DJ to be healthy. And he looks like he's swinging the bat much better. He looks a lot better in the field. So it's a great point.
that's right. And to CW saying, y'all say don't worry in spring training, nobody's hitting. They're actually, they are hitting. They're actually getting hits. It's just right now what's happening is they're not scoring the runs with
Yep.
running score position. So they are actually getting hits. I mean, as far as the bats go, there is a little bit of an improvement with the bats compared to where it was last year, where the philosophy was hit the ball hard and launch angle, and just everybody was
Yep.
trying to hit a home run. Now there's been a slight improvement with each player in that lineup as far as their bat goes, and the ones that stand out to me is guys like Anthony Volpe and Giancarlo. I mean, Volpe's been playing well in the spring training. I mean, he did well last spring training too. Hopefully that continues um, into the regular season. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how things play out. Like I said, spring training is a time where players are working out their kinks and just trying
Yep.
to perfect their craft. So
And
I don't think we
James
should get into
says that,
panic mode.
yeah, and James says I'm getting scared 24 is gonna turn to a rerun of 23 even with Soto. I would not even go there yet.
Mhm.
This team is much more improved than it was last year. And you're comparing apples and oranges. So, I mean, you have to really think about and hone in is on this. Is it going to be a rerun? Probably not. Are the Yankees going to are they working out their kinks now? Absolutely. Every team is doing that. Um, from from pitching to hitting we shouldn't be worried. I mean, we have the depth, we have the pieces, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to try to add during the season or even now. But let's not jump the gun and start saying that they're going to, you know, have a rerun of last year because, quite frankly, I don't think they are. I think they're going to be better. I think the offense is going to click, especially with the acquisitions we made. When we get to the regular season, I think that's really going to be where they prove that they aren't going to have that rerun of last year.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it'll be a rerun of last year. I'll say this. I would say that at the worst, and I know it's too early to predict. At the worst, I would say the Yankees will win 90 games. At the worst.
At the
Um,
worst, yeah.
yeah. At best, I'm going to give them 95 wins.
Yep.
If everything goes according to plan. And they have more lefty bats in the lineup. Their rotation, their lineup is much better than last year. You're not having Aaron Hicks or Josh Donaldson in your lineup. You don't have Willie Calhoun, Frenchie Cordero, Jake Bauer.
You don't
Uh,
have IKF in there and I'm
yeah,
not taking anything away from what he did, but
yeah,
he
he wasn't
he
effective.
tried. He
Yeah,
he did everything he could to help this team and it just was not enough.
yeah, and you don't have IKF in the lineup, and now you have players playing in their actual position.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and Stephen B knows what I'm talking about with the Fantastic Four. That's a joke that I put out there with Calhoun, McKinney, Bauer, and
Yeah.
uh, and who's the other guy? Uh, I'm drawing a blank on his name now, but he knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, no, the IKF, man. I mean, it's like I didn't hate the guy. I didn't like the guy. He actually grew on me, but he
Yeah.
was, he was good and put his head down and played the game. But you know, but it just wasn't. He wasn't really effective. He wasn't helping us win a lot of games. But it's not just him. It was just a whole team. It was a
The
team
whole
that,
team was
yeah.
completely utterly just done with. Like
Mm-hmm.
no life. So
Yeah.
this leads me to my next question for you, NFE.
Mm-hmm.
Who makes the cut out of spring training now that we know that they're starting to make more cuts?
I mean, the obvious ones that are making it, right? Like, Judge and, Soto, Stanton, like
Part of
those,
the invitees is
the
what I'm.
invitees.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the non-roster invites?
Yes.
Okay.
Non-roster invites or the ones that like Birdie or Poteet that we got on a minor league deal, but have a chance to earn their way.
So let me look at I'm going to pull up the non-roster invites
Okay.
list here so I can tell you who I think is going to make it. I could say with confidence that Spencer Jones is not going to make it. I mean,
yeah, I think we can all agree
yeah.
on that. Which is not a bad thing. So
No.
that's the other thing I wanted to point out. It's not a bad thing that Spencer Jones is not on the major league roster. It gives him more time to develop, gives him more time to become more productive and to get his skill set refined.
Yeah, so I could see, this is the correct list here. I could see Nick Birdie making it.
Okay.
I think he should make it. I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
I know there's another name that some folks were talking about, and that was Yerry De Los Santos, but I don't think he will.
Okay.
There's also, and then the Yankees had signed Anthony Misavich, but I want to see a little bit more from him. I wouldn't mind seeing him come up. Maybe you could see Dennis Santana.
Yeah, I've seen Santana.
He could make the cut.
Yeah.
Clayton Beater, if he's not on the
Clayton Beater absolutely could make it.
Yo,
I say Clayton Beater absolutely could make it.
Yeah, I hope he does, man. I want Clayton Beater to make it. I liked how he pitched last Thursday, and he looked pretty good. I think he's more of a bullpen guy. I mean, I was talking with Dane Huber about that, and I agreed with Dane that I think he's more of a bullpen guy than he is
a starter.
A starter. Yeah, I think he's got the stuff for it. Yeah, as far as for pitchers, I'd see Birdie, Dennis Santana are two names that come to mind.
Interesting.
I'm just kind of looking at those. Yeah, there's also names like like again, De Los Santos, Dwayne Underwood Jr., Mosqueda, Misavich, Tanner Tully, Joey Gerber, Art Warren. I don't know about those guys. I think they'll start in the minor leagues. I don't know if any of those names do you feel that are going to make the cut or not?
I think Nick Birdie's got a shot.
I think Nick Birdie's got a shot too. I think he's
I think Martinez also has a shot. I accidentally put someone in timeout. I didn't mean to, so I apologize about the Danny Nebia. I was trying to star his comment, which was Stroman pitched amazing.
He did.
Hey guys,
yeah,
Stroman.
He's been looking good.
Danny, I apologize about that. I was not intending to do that. I just want you to understand that was not the intention. The intention was actually to star your comment because it was a very factual statement, and I do apologize about that. So I just want to put that out there before we move further. I don't want him to think that I meant to do that. So, but no, Stroman was great today. Stroman was about as good as you could have asked for in 4 innings that he could have pitched today. I mean, he took that Blue Jays lineup and carved right through them. So that's something to be that's something to look forward to.
I'm happy with Stroman's performance. I mean, I was kind of looking at the stats and he looked good. He looked good. And nice comment here from Oakley. Says Stroman will make everyone forget about Balake. Nice.
So I think for me, Nick Birdie's one, Martinez is the other. Beater's another one.
Yep.
Can't really
So
think of. It's hard because there's a lot of guys that you could pick from. I mean, Poteet could make it.
yeah, Poteet's he's another name.
Yep.
What about any of the catchers? What about like Ben Rice, Luis Torrens? Luis Torrens is actually
I
pretty good, but
I think Luis Torrens and Ben Rice are going to be sent to minor league camp just to get some more reps in. I think
mm-hmm.
it's like a Spencer Jones. I don't think they're ready yet, but they have been very good. Warren
Yep.
is on the cusp. The only way I see Warren coming up is if the Yankees end up deciding to put an innings limit on Nestor Cortez. That's the only way I see him coming up.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Nestor Cortez, I'm sure, at some point. But yeah, that's the only way. Yeah, because I know some people feel that Warren is going to make the cut, but the Yankees are going to. I think the Yankees are set with their rotation right now,
Yeah.
and he's not going. Will Warren's going to get called up. I mean, one way or another, he's getting called up. Whether it's somebody in the rotation getting hurt, or he's gonna get called up like one way or another. So
Yeah.
When that is, I don't know, but I could see maybe a June or July call up perhaps.
Yeah.
So but if a player in the rotation does get hurt, I mean, Will Warren is going to be that guy that's going to get plugged in, and he's ready to go.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's pitched great this spring. So
Yeah,
there's nothing to complain about him. I have nothing bad to say about Will Warren. So in that case, if we're talking about who makes the cut, who doesn't make the cut, there's a lot of people who have been talking about Spencer Jones
mm-hmm.
and how they think Spencer Jones should be up on the major league roster. And this is almost a flashback and a carbon copy of last year with Dominguez. I mean, Dominguez ended up getting called up anyways, not to say that he didn't, but there were people, including myself, who thought he should have been brought up onto the major league roster. That is until I saw why they sent him down. And it ended up growing on me that decision was the right decision. So with that being said, do you think the same applies for Spencer Jones?
Look, I understand why people might be upset about Spencer Jones being sent back to the minors, but I mean, to me, it's just he can continue developing in the minors, and there's not a spot for him. Are you just going to bring him up and just have him sit? He could potentially fill in the outfield or first base, right? If Rizzo needs a day off, I mean, they could use some depth over there for first base. Yeah. But the thing is, I'm not surprised. Honestly, I'm not surprised that he was sent back down to the minors and let him continue developing. That was the same thing with Jason Dominguez. Let him continue developing. Just because when Dominguez got brought up, I mean, last year, it was great. He looked great, and he's gonna he'll get called up again this year.
Yeah,
I'm sure he will.
Absolutely.
He'll be, according to the reports, he should be back June, July. It sounds like he's making some progress. He's throwing from like 75 feet now, so
yeah,
slowly but surely, he's making his progress.
Yep.
So that's good news. And
Yep.
Spencer Jones, he may get called up later this year, or he could be called up for 2025.
I see it more as 25 just with the whole Rizzo situation.
True.
So Spencer Jones.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But with that in mind, I think what they're going to do is they're going to have him go to AAA, start out there, get some time down there, or AA, get some more time down there, and then move up to AAA. Get him enough reps at first base that he gets used to playing the position so that they can eventually move him to first to take over for Rizzo. Because that's the only way they're going to get Soto, Judge, and Dominguez all in that lineup.
Yeah, and I'm envisioning that lineup. I've been envisioning that lineup actually, and then you include Soto in that as long as the Yankees sign him back after the
Yep.
season.
Which I think they will.
I think they will too. I think they will too. And I've been saying it. Look, I don't know why fans are already talking about free agency with Juan Soto. I just want to mention that real quick. Like, we're not even there yet. We'll cross that bridge when that time comes. Right now, spring training is happening, and there's
Let's just enjoy it.
Let's just enjoy it. The regular season is going to still needs to be played, and you still have the playoff, the postseason, the World Series. I mean, so we got a long ways to go till the off season and talk about free agency. And Donnie, and to Donnie's comment, yeah, you know what? People are going to talk about Soto to the Mets, and look, there's going to be teams that are going to bid for Soto. It's inevitable. Of course, they're going to. The Mets are going to.
Everyone's going to.
A lot of teams are going to. They're absolutely going to bid for him, but I ultimately think that the Yankees are going to sign him back. I have and they're not going to just let him walk like some people think that Cashman and Hal are just going to let him play for a year and just let him walk. And it's just like, why would they trade all those guys to just let the guy walk?
Plus, they were in on him for 2 years. So that also is another thing.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I brought up FL Diver's point or comment, which was to clarify Peraza went for an orthogram today, not just an MRI, so not exactly a good thing.
Yeah.
That means that there's probably something more that they saw that they didn't like. It's probably a little bit more serious than what it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, and it's unfortunate. It's absolutely unfortunate for Peraza because
yes,
he's been sent up. He's been sent up and down too many times. He didn't get the playing time that he rightfully deserved, and then he was trying to show himself during spring training, and it wasn't. Spring training hasn't exactly worked out for him, and now he's got to deal with this injury. And he's going for more tests. So it's unfortunate, man. And, as far as injuries go, I mean, you can't really blame anybody for that. I mean, injuries just happen.
No.
It just happens. It happens. And, that it's inevitable. It's part of the sport. And
so he brings up another point, and I just want to bring this up is there could be a tear in something, and they just didn't see it in that MRI. So
could have been, yeah. And I guess the question is this too, and this was something that that I shared on X, and Brad, Brad, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Brad Jewis,
who's a frequent visitor on all of our channels.
Yes,
hilarious.
We love Brad, by the way.
Yeah, we do love Brad. Brad is awesome, but he did ask a fair question to me on X, and it was a great question. Did the Yankees know that he had that shoulder issue coming into spring training, or did it happen during spring training?
Oh,
yeah.
Well, let me pose a rebuttal question to you.
Sure.
Could it have been both?
It could be. I mean, here's the thing. Sometimes, and tell me, and people in the chat tell me if I'm wrong, and Mazza, you tell me if I'm wrong. But sometimes I feel like when something is off, if a trainer or the manager or the coach says, "Hey, you don't seem right," but if the player says, "I'm fine," do you take the player's word? I mean, do you still go against what they tell you and still tell them like, no, something is off? Because sometimes players will say, I'm fine, but then and an injury occurs, then what?
Right.
So
with the history of this medical staff, I mean, at this point, it's very hard to tell if you take the player side or if, I mean, it's very hard in that situation. Now, Peraza coming into spring could have had an injury already to his shoulder, told the Yankees they knew about it and said, play it out and see how it feels. And then if you feel like it's getting worse, we'll deal with it when we cross that bridge, or we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So that's why I say, could it have been both? So for Brad to bring that up is a very valid question.
It's an absolute valid question. So, you know, it's hard for me to, I don't have an answer. I'll be honest with you.
I don't either.
Yeah. It could have been that, you know, heading into spring training that he could have had this shoulder issue. It could have been the case because, you know, he was having I know he was having some problems on the field and he wasn't hitting, but I don't know if that attributed to it or you know, who knows, right? Who knows? But it is a great question. So we don't know. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he went into spring training with a shoulder injury or a shoulder issue.
Hey, FL Diver, what Efrost situation are you referring to? Because I'm not sure what you're referring to. Let us know, FL Diver, what you're referring to. But it almost
his back.
His back surgery.
Yeah. He said L4, L5. I was like, that's back surgery.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if at some point the Yankees reevaluate that medical staff.
I mean,
like, hey,
they should have done it in the offseason, honestly.
They should have, and I'm not agreeing with you. But when do they really stop to say this is not working? And when do they find a new team doctor? Because Dr. Ahmad is an absolute joke. We saw this last year.
Right.
We saw it last year with Rizzo. So when do the Yankees draw that line?
You'd have to ask the Yankees, honestly. But if it's, I'll say, well, here's an answer for you. If it's the same thing, if it's a repeat of 2023, you have to do something about it.
No, absolutely. I think they should have. I think after the Rizzo thing, Dr. Ahmad should have been fired on the spot.
Yeah, well, the medical staff should have been changed after during the offseason. Something should have been done. I mean, you know, Hal, you know, this is where I'm not bashing Hal, but this is where I disagreed with him. He felt that the medical staff was fine. I'm like, I know. No, I got to disagree with you here, man.
Yeah.
Like,
and,
you know,
don't get me wrong. I like what Hal's done this offseason.
Definitely.
But I really wish he would have changed that medical staff because that was bad. Now, the Clint here, Donnie, I'm going to just bring this up. The Clint Frazier situation was completely different in the sense of that not only didn't get diagnosed properly, but he didn't bring it in time. So he got worse as the season went on. And then he said he went to go look at it, and there was something with like sleeping or something. It was something weird. You remember that?
Yeah. I mean, it was obvious that something was wrong with Rizzo. All of us, you know, fans, right?
We're talking about the Clint Frazier situation.
What about it?
Where he claimed he didn't have a concussion, and then one minute he said he did, and then another minute it wasn't. You remember that?
There was a lot of mixed messages about that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a sense, it's like You have to look at that as well. But regardless of that being said, the Yankees are in a much better spot.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of health, let's move to Rodon because he is one of the keys to this rotation. He did not have spring starts last year. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I put out a video about this earlier. He didn't have spring starts last year. This year he has. And he's pitching better than three guys that a lot of folks wanted: Corbin Burns and Jesus Luzardo, who folks wanted us to trade Spencer Jones for, and then Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Okay? Combined, the three of them have a 9.04 ERA. Burns has a 10.13. Yamamoto has a 9. Luzardo has an 8. Rodon has a 3.34. So he's pitching better than the three of them combined. And
Yeah.
it's something to really consider thinking about because if you look at it, why are we not talking about the three guys that are struggling?
Well, just because they're not on the Yankees. If they were on the
Yeah.
Yankees, then people would be talking, and
People
yeah,
would be losing
Rodon,
their mind.
oh, they'd be like, oh, this was a bad signing, and Cashman sucks, and oh, it's going to be another disastrous season. All
Yep.
the negativity would be coming out. I mean, listen, Rodon, yeah, he like you said there, Mazza, he didn't have a spring last year. He had zero spring last year. He didn't have a great outing yesterday, or what was it? Or no, the day before. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't have a great outing, but he does show that he can pitch. He's been
Yes.
showing that he could get out of jams. He gave up that solo shot in the first inning against Yandy Diaz, and then after that he bounced back.
Yep.
He was looking great. Then he gave up that 2-run shot. Okay,
Yep. And then
it killed the mood, it killed the groove. But he is showing that he can pitch. Remember
yep.
when he was pitching in some of these games last year, he was out of there by like the first inning, second inning. It was bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
So it's a step.
And then Donnie asks, is Snow not signed with the Yankees because of Rodon's contract? No.
No.
He's not signed with the Yankees because his agent told us to kick rocks after we made him two very fair offers, more than fair offers, for a guy who's only pitched 180 innings twice and can't get out of the fifth. So, no, it's not because of Rodon's contract. It's because of his agent. That's why.
The Yankees have made 2 offers to Blake Snell, and they went as high as a 28 million AAV. All right, and they still said no. It's almost as if they're stuck on that 30 million. But you know what? They could go kick rocks at this point.
Yep.
Because no other team has made an offer for Blake Snell. They've expressed interest, but no offer has come out. So you know what? Whatever. I'm not losing any sleep over it. If somehow the Yankees signed Blake Snell out of nowhere, fine. I'm not going to complain. But if they don't sign Blake Snell, I'm not
going to complain.
Sleep.
Exactly.
Nope. Yeah.
Bohr's too high and misread the market like the White Sox GM with Cease. Absolutely. Right. That's getting a star.
And that was because of the Yamamoto contract. And you got to understand, Yamamoto's 25.
And Yamamoto's already getting lit up by a very weak White Sox team.
Right.
And I don't care that it's spring training, because if you want to go that route, we can. Right. But it just goes to show that he's not untouchable. And FL.
Yeah, go ahead.
What were you saying?
I was just gonna say that look, if we're gonna say all these people we're complaining about these players not playing well in spring training, we got to complain about Yamamoto and those guys. But I'm going to go ahead and say, even for Yamamoto, Corbin Burns, I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what, it's spring training. Let's see what happens. So that's what I'm going to go. That's what I'm going to go with, because the regular season is where it's really going to matter, and we see what players are going to look like.
And FL Diver says he wants to see his Rodon's velo increase by the end of camp. Velo's not everything, so let's hold off on that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
But he also goes on to say NFE, like you say, Snell can kick Boris's rocks.
Yeah, and we know. I'm wondering if he's talking about certain rocks.
But Stephen B goes on to say a White Sox team that's bad in rebuild mode. Yeah, they are bad. They are in a rebuild mode, and if they can't realize that, that's on them, and they can go kick rocks as well and get bent. Oakley Turner, I like this comment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm becoming a big old Stroh fan. Bring some pride back to zero for me, Marcus. Please and thank you sincerely, Oakley.
Look, I'm loving Stroman. You know what? He's been pitching well this off season. Or excuse me, spring training. He's been looking good.
He's been very good.
Yeah, I feel very good about him. I feel very good about Clark Schmidt. I feel very good about Garrett Cole. Those are the three I feel really good about. Rodon, I feel like he's coming around. Nestor, he hasn't been too bad, right? My only concern with Nestor is just hopefully that shoulder holds up.
Yep, that's the concern for me too. He says Rodon's velo was his game. It's short to make him a pitcher, not a thrower. I don't know if I'd exactly call him a thrower. I don't think that's the right terminology, FL, but I know where you're going with it.
Mm-hmm.
They need to get him more in the mindset of being like he can throw as hard as he needs to, right? But he also has to learn to be consistent. But that also comes with his health.
Yeah. And throwing the ball hard, I mean, depending on the batter, I mean, they could still hit those hard balls too. So,
yeah.
I mean,
and locating them.
And it is about location, because if you're throwing it straight down the middle,
you're going to get burned.
You might, but you got to hit that. You got to hit that strike zone, right? Because it's not just straight down the middle. You got to hit those corners. Whether it's inside, outside, you hit that corner where it throws the batters off. So, and Donnie Clark's comment here. Torres won't be kicking rocks. He'll just, go into free agency. When Torres, we won't get into Torres yet, but
we'll get to that on another show.
Yeah, sure. That's another can of worms.
Yeah. Schmidt looks better, and that circle change is going to be a game changer for lefties and righties. Absolutely. That's really going to be the money pitch that he needs to get working.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of, with Clark Schmidt, I don't understand. Like, there was some fans, right? Not all fans, but some fans that had their doubts about him and were saying that he should be put back in the bullpen.
I disagree with that.
I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I keep saying it over and over again. Last season, he was the only other dependable starter in that rotation. The only other starter was Garrett Cole. He was the only dependable pitcher in that rotation. After that, it was Cole. Because Rodon was unfortunately a lost cause. Nestor was hurt. So was Severino. That he was a lost cause too. Herman, get it. I mean, him and his personal issues.
Yeah. That was a bit of baggage we didn't need, but
yeah.
Yeah.
So Schmidt was absolutely consistent. He had a rough first half, sure, but he turned it around in the second half. And he was pitching. He was pitching a lot better. He was eating up innings. He would go 6 innings or so, and then the bullpen would come in and do their job. And FL Diver, I didn't mention Montas, but Montas had a 0.00 ERA, and that's a joke. But
Yeah.
you know,
Um,
but yeah, Montas was non-existent, unfortunately. So
yeah. But before we continue the conversation, guys, we have 11 people in here. If you probably have more, but if you have not smashed that like button, please do so. I am on the road to 600 subscribers. And if you have not subscribed to NFE and the Strike Zone, what rock are you living under? Because he's got some good content. Go show him some love and go subscribe to his channel as well. He is on the road to 500 subscribers. And let's smash that like button while we are at it. Greatly appreciated. And I thank you all for subscribing. So the next thing that I see happening this year is potentially at the deadline, the Yankees either making a move for a starter or a reliever. What are your thoughts?
depending on how Clay Holmes does, right? I could see them potentially going after a closer at the deadline. But that's contingent on how Clay Holmes does. Now, Clay Holmes does well if he pitches well and is successful as a closer. I could see them pivoting to a starter.
Yeah,
who that may be, I don't know. I think at this point, I wouldn't even consider Dylan Cease at that point because the White Sox are still going to ask for a lot, and no, absolutely not.
so maybe rocks, get bent.
Yeah, kick rocks or get bent. And Donnie brings up a name here. Shane Bieber. Maybe they go after Shane Bieber, and Shane Bieber could be our pitcher. Could be that starter for a few months for us.
It's very possible.
It's very possible. I mean, he wouldn't be.
It's very possible that Shane Bieber could be the guy that gets us over the top.
Yeah, we'd love to have Devin Williams. That's a name that a lot.
I think everyone here can agree that Devin Williams would be great.
I would love to have Devin Williams, but I think he's going to come at a high price. And where is Rob Cabrera? Let's go. Yeah, that one's for you, Rob. But I would love to have Cabrera too, but again, the Marlins are going to ask for a lot, and I think a Marlins Yankees trade that ship has sailed.
FL just said the same thing you did.
Yeah, that ship has sailed. That went bye, man. The time to do that trade with the Marlins, that should have been done at the deadline last season.
Yeah.
That was the time to do it, but unfortunately, Cashman got a little greedy with that one. So, but you should just ask for two pitchers, and that would have been the end of it. But
Jonathan makes a good point. Yankees need to trade some prospects before the Rule 5 draft.
True.
Jacob Petruzzi, what's up, brother? Stephen B says would love Williams, and I am not dealing Jones or Dominguez or Arias for him. Absolutely not doing it. The Brewers can go get bent if they think they're getting Jones or Dominguez or Arias or Lombard or Hampton and Warren. So that's not going to happen.
And something worth noting too. I know. You remember the Brewers traded Corbin Burns to the Orioles. So it's just something to note. Corbin Burns plans on testing free agency, folks.
Yes, he does.
I read that this morning.
He also said that before he got traded. It didn't matter if he was with the Brewers or if he got traded. He was not signing an extension with the team that either acquired him or with Milwaukee. He wants to test the free agent market, and that is his right to do. Now, remember, and this is just if, the Yankees sign, or not if, but when Corbin Burns goes to the free agent market, he will be attached to a QO. Now, there is a way that it can work out for the Yankees, and it's probably going to end up being something as such. Forgetting Soto for a second. The Yankees are going to offer Gleyber Torres a QO. We already know this. So Gleyber Torres is going to be attached to a qualifying offer. So, whatever team signs Gleyber Torres is going to have to give up IFA money, a draft pick, and what else is it that they give up?
IFA draft pick. I think that's it. Because if they, like, for example, if the Yankees
Hey, we got breaking news, bro.
What do we got?
John Heyman is reporting that the Reds infielder Novelli Marte is suspended for 80 games for PEDs.
Oh boy. Yeah, so FL Diver brings it up. Two picks and
there you go.
$1 million
2 picks
money.
And $1 million in IFA money. FL, thank you, brother, for that. I appreciate that. So the Yankees will get that back in return.
Yeah.
Now, if that happens, Gleyber goes to another team. Team signs him, gets him that. Then we sign Corbin Burns. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, we'll get to
that. It cancels out. Mm-hmm. So they're not losing anything. That's the only way that I could see the Yankees doing that. Ben Rortvedt might get traded. Not
He's
sure.
Out of options, so he could get traded.
Yeah. Give me 1 second, NFE. I just want to verify something here.
Sure. So, yeah.
It's been confirmed on MLB trade rumors.
Oh, with the pet violation?
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Yep. Also, JD Martinez is drawing interest from the Miami Marlins as well.
Whoa. Okay. Actually, you know what? The Marlins, that doesn't surprise me. That honestly does not surprise me.
But the big news that we were able to break on here was the PED suspension for Novelli Marte, who I think is the Reds' top prospect, who they got from Seattle in that trade for Luis Castillo.
I think you're right. Yeah. That name does sound familiar, but man, that's huge.
That's a very big break for that's huge for Cincinnati. Now they gotta oh boy. Also, Jonathan says they lose 10 spots if they sign a QO player.
Yep. Yeah.
We are linked to the top players in the IFA. Yes, that is true. Are you talking about Novelli Marte?
He plays shortstop and third base.
There you go.
I was looking him up because I got curious myself. So
yeah, but it is on MLB trade rumors. So if you guys go and take a look at that, you'll see it. I will be putting a video out about that. That is huge. The Yankees are absolutely putting a QO on Soto. That's without a doubt they're going to do that.
I think they're going to do that for both Soto and Torres.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a couple more topics to get to, and that is with the regular season 20 days away. We know Peraza is hurt. We know the Yankees bench is starting to get a little bit thin.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do now to fix that bench, to try to get it back to where it was?
Maybe there's been few folks talking about Solano. Maybe the Yankees can sign Solano.
I wouldn't mind that.
I mentioned yesterday on my show that MLB trade rumors was maybe speculating that could JD Davis from the Giants get traded because they signed Matt Chapman. Can we possibly see that? Can the Yankees potentially trade for a guy like that? I mean, is that a possibility? Who else is out there? Who else? I mean, are there any names?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could also look within. They needed to.
That was going to be my next thing. They could look from within. They could look from the guys that they have in their own system right now.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of folks are,
Donnie.
Vivas. I mean, he could be somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That could be brought up. So the Yankees could bring him up. It's possible. As far as other bench pieces, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm not trying to be silent here.
No, I'm trying to think as well. I can't really.
Well, what about like some of those guys that they got, like Kevin Smith and?
I mean, they could.
Yeah,
they could. I'm not saying they couldn't, but would that really be worth it for them to bring up Kevin Smith?
Maybe. I mean, maybe if they can't find somebody in the market, or if they can't find a team to trade for, there's.
I mean, that brings up a good point here. Oswaldo needs to step it up.
Yeah, unfortunately, man, I'm not. I don't know. I don't want to give up on Oswaldo Cabrera, but I'm kind of giving up on him.
At this point, I hate to say it like this, but I think he might have peaked already. I don't know. I don't know if he can handle playing in the big leagues. And I'm not trying to be, like harsh about it, but he can't seem to figure it out.
No. And, as I'm looking at some of these names that this list of names right here, I was thinking, I don't know if, TJ Rumfield, could he be a bench piece?
Well, they already designated him to minor league camp.
Okay. So, I mean, they did the same thing with Jeter Downs too.
Yeah.
Caleb Durbin, he's another one, but I don't know if he would be a guy.
I don't think he's on the 40 man.
Yeah.
I don't think he's on the 40 man.
Yeah, or maybe like a Josh Van Meter. I mean, he's another name.
It's interesting. They could do that.
Jose Rojas.
They could do that too.
Yeah. Wasn't Groshans?
Yes, he was just DFA'd.
He was just DFA'd. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And they brought somebody else in his place. But
they did.
Yeah,
I forgot who it was though.
It might have been. I was gonna say Van Meter, but I don't think it was Van Meter.
No, it wasn't. I'll think of it though.
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah, this is gonna be the final. No, I have not FL Diver. I have not hit Mallory Square, but I have been there before. But this is going to be the final topic of the night, and that is Yankees overall are a much better team. We've seen this. We know it. It's pretty evident. What do you think the atmosphere at Yankee Stadium is going to be like at their home opener with everyone that's here? Verdugo, Soto, Grisham.
It's going to be loud, man. That first game is going to be insane. And if I'm not mistaken, their home opener is going to be against Toronto.
Yes.
And it's going to be loud. It's going to be insane. Like I don't think there's going to be an empty seat in that stadium.
Yeah.
I think all those seats are going to be filled. The atmosphere is going to be insane, and I think Marcus Stroman is going to be pitching in that game in the home opener. I think that's the way
he is.
And with Stroman, with Stroman being the hometown kid and pitching in that game, it's going to be insane. Juan Soto, his name being called. Oh,
getting that roll call.
Getting that
now,
roll call. Yeah.
My final question to you before we wrap this up is: do you think the Yankees are the most improved team in the AL or in the majors because we have two comments here. One, yes,
Mhm.
most improved team in baseball from last year. We are
Mhm.
the most improved team in the AL. Which do you think it is, AL or major leagues?
So I will say that they were the most improved team in the AL. But as far as uh, being like the most, I would say they were the busiest team all season,
Oh,
off season.
absolutely.
But as far as being the most improved team, I'll say the most improved team in the American League. I'll
Yeah,
I'll, I'll leave it with that.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, they covered the most holes,
Mm-hmm.
didn't spend a whole lot of money, and got the pieces they needed. So
Oh, for sure. And
they really showed the fan base that they were serious about getting better and that they were embarrassed by last year and that last year was a fluke.
yeah, and the other thing too, while I wanted to mention real quick, I know you and I talked about it this morning, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, and I know, obviously, guys like Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, those guys are still free agents, and the days
Yep.
are winding down, and it's at this point, I know some teams have had some injuries to their pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
So, Scott Boras is, like, okay, this is my time. But I don't see those teams making a run. I really don't.
Nope. I don't either.
You know,
Um,
could,
I don't. They are asking too much
yeah.
for two guys who aren't worth it, aren't worth that kind of money.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying to give them a crap
Oh
load of money,
no, no,
but
I get that, but
yeah,
I'm saying what they're asking for
yeah,
is asinine. I mean, you're asking for 9 for 270 for Snell.
which is
Absolutely,
no team's going to give that.
no.
So, oh boy.
Now we're getting off the rails here, FL
Oh,
Diamond.
we're getting a little off the rails,
A
just a little bit.
little off the reservation.
Yeah. But no, but here's the thing though. It's just, we're 20 days away. These guys aren't signed. They don't have a spring training.
No,
I mean, shoot. It's like at this point, they might have to take a small a lower salary deal
yeah.
at this. You know, big boulders. Yeah, he's gonna have to. But it's
Oh,
just yeah, they're right now Boris has screwed himself and he screwed
yeah,
over Snell and Montgomery. So
yeah.
I don't know, man. Like they,
And I've said this before. Do not be surprised if they don't get signed until mid-season.
I wouldn't
I
be
said it on.
surprised.
I said it when I was on the panel with Tats, Rob, and Donald. They all looked at me like, "No, no, no! Don't be surprised if they get signed at the middle of the season, because at this point, I don't see them signing anytime soon, and they're already not getting a full spring. They're already going to be set back.
Mm-hmm.
They would have needed to have signed the very first week of March before the game started, right? In order to get a full spring. But they couldn't do it. They didn't get a deal done. And quite frankly, it's Boris who screwed his clients. It wasn't, I mean, you can also, they could have been like, listen, you don't get paid. So let's let's get us a contract so we can, get you paid. So it's partially on the players and it's also partially on Boris.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. So now that the days are winding down, And if these guys happen to sign in the middle of the season, they're definitely not going to get the offer that they want. It's either they're going to have to accept some sort of lower offer, which is probably what it's going to be at this point, or they're just going to sit out the season. What do you all want?
Yeah.
I mean, so because Matt Chapman definitely didn't get what he wanted. Cody
Nope,
Bellinger.
nor did Belly.
Okay, so what are they going to do? So this is where teams like the Yankees. It's not just the Yankees, but all MLB teams right now that could be interested are going to be
not going to bite.
They're not going to bite. Yeah, they're not. They're absolutely not going to bite. And
Steven brings up this great point. Boris might be fired by Snell or Monty for his mistake on the market.
Yeah, could be. And that was, that was all due to Yamamoto getting the contract that he did. But again, people are forgetting the fact that Yamamoto is 25 years old and
he's unproven.
And he's unproven. And both Monty and Snell are in their 30s. So let's not forget that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to say.
It's a great point.
Yeah. So age matters here. And I know some people were like, oh, well, when the Yankees signed Cole, he was 28. I'm like, there's a big difference. He was 28 and was a proven ace. Like
Cole was also a guy who had a postseason pedigree like you wouldn't believe. So
exactly.
Let's get that straight.
There's a big difference. Big difference. So,
but that's something to think about as well. So that's a good point. Mm-hmm. But this is going to wrap it up for us, guys. This is the last stop on this train. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Again, Danny from earlier, I apologize about that. But thank you guys for joining us. NFE, as always, thank you for coming on and doing this with me. It's always a blast. Yeah. Always welcome. You guys are great. The chat was lively. And you know what, guys? There's a lot of big things coming, not only from my channel and NFE's channel, but the Pinstripe Express. So stay tuned for that. We have a lot of stuff in the works. When everything gets finalized, we will let you guys know. So until next time, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday, great rest of your weekend, a safe weekend. Hit that like, subscribe, and bell icon buttons, and that share buttons. And share this with your family, your friends. And until next time, this is the final stop on the 4 Train Express, and we will see you next time.